Welcome to the Healthcare Nation podcast. I'm your host, Rick Gannotta, and we're committed to bringing you thought leaders in the field to discuss what's new and noteworthy in the health sector. This is the Healthcare Nation podcast. Hey, welcome to the Healthcare Nation podcast. Rick Gannotta, your host here. I'm with Joe Woolworth and our intern for the day, Mina. Mina, how are you doing over there?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Hopefully you're learning something here from Joe and looking at how all of the Healthcare Nation comes together into a show that hopefully, and we believe this to be the case, adds value to everyone. So with
Speaking of impact, hey, I was curious. I saw about your LinkedIn post that was doing so well about vaccination debate in the upcoming vaccination debate. So I wanted to start there and just pick your brain on that.
Yeah. You know, there's this, it's interesting. Joe Rogan, podcaster, I think anyone who does a podcast owes a lot to Joe Rogan. One thing is the question of debates came up, and RFK, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., his stance as an anti-vaxxer, I think I could say that, and Dr. Peter Hotez, who is out there, who is obviously pro-vax, and he was part of the whole movement behind creating the COVID vaccine, and Joe Rogan invited them both to be on his show to debate the issue. So the controversy therein is, should they debate? And it's going back and forth. I will tell you, just to get to the quick of it from my perspective, debates absolutely serve an important function. There's no doubt. As long as the intention behind them are coming from the right place, absolutely. But I think you got to have enough time so that you can unpack and explore the science and that each party gets to put their points of view out there. So that's kind of my first.
Joe's Rogan show might be the spot because he does like 4-hour episodes. So
yeah.
That's plenty of time.
It would take that long, I think. And by the way, there's big money behind this now that would go to charity, which is interesting as well.
Right. Well, you mentioned in the article there about the importance of peer-reviewed studies as opposed to what a lot of sources in debates are is like, I saw this online.
Yeah. More emotion too, right? Look, I think anytime you're dealing with science, we have to lean on the facts. And it's really unfortunate if you take a look at the last, let's just say 36 months and the lack of confidence that has happened, I would just say in general I'll just call it out, with the CDC and other really well-established bodies that are out there, the FDA and others. And why did that happen? Why did they stop becoming the source of truth? And why was it? Were things not handled well? Well, I do know this, having been in the field for a long time. Peer-reviewed clinical trials, they mean something. That is what the basis of science is built on, including, some aspects of vaccine development. So we should look at that, and that should be a starting point for any kind of discussion and debate. But by the way, I'm absolutely pro-debate. I just want to make sure everyone gets the facts out there.
The way social media is designed to be entertaining and to keep you on there. I mean, how do you compete and get people excited about peer-reviewed studies?
Yeah, that's really a good question. I will tell you that with, the platform really should take responsibility for pulling things together and having the right format for a debate, because so many folks are influenced now by what's happening in social media. We know this, right? It's a race for the attention of every person. And Joe, let me just flip this because I want to have some questions for you. You've been in the field, you've been in media for a long, long time. When you think about whether it's the vaccine debate or other debates where there is, a scientific issue that's out there, what role do you think social media platforms should play? Are they just conduits of entertainment, or should it be a relevant place for information? And in that case, we'd have a bigger responsibility. What are your thoughts?
I mean, you talked about should. I mean, right now, I think obviously no, they're not built for debate. They're probably the worst place to have a debate. And I think one of the main reasons is the way the algorithms are set up to, one, in the best case scenario of what we know about the algorithms, they're supposed to feed you other stuff like the stuff you like. So they're built an echo chamber. So it's not a place for debate. It's a place for agreement and disagreement with other people. So it's really not built for debate as much as it is to keep you on the thing.
Yeah. And, that's crazy when you think about the algorithms and keeping you hooked. I mean, I hate to say that. I get it from an advertising perspective. Where I worry about it is from an influence and information perspective.
It's going to be tough to hold social media platforms accountable because that's not what they set out to build. They didn't set out to build a place for a fair debate.
Mm-hmm.
And so coming in after the fact and trying to explain to somebody how they should really care about the thing that they didn't build is kind of like going to McDonald's and being like, you really got to care about serving sushi.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
it's not what we're trying to do.
Right. Yeah. Good. Right. Great analogy. We get queries in for our show here. You've got to navigate lots of information. We have different guests here. There's so much context checking that I know you do behind the scenes, and including, even the questions that we get when I do our postscript. How do you navigate that when you're researching the content that's sent in and what we're doing for each show?
You just got to be a smart consumer. So you got to get content from trusted sources, and just please don't get news from social media.
Yeah.
Just don't.
Yeah.
There's no reason to read the stuff on social media for news because it's going to be the least likely to disagree, cause you to think with your current worldview. And so it's not a great idea as far as like, I wonder if I can expand my mind here is to jump on social media. It's really not what it's for.
Yeah. I'm dating myself here, but I'm going to say it, Joe, I'm a different generation, and I think you are too, but we got Mina, our intern here. Mina, look, you're a recent graduate, right? What have you seen with the folks in your class, your peers? What are the attitudes? Let's just take vaccines, for example. Where do they get their information from, regarding whether they should, get a vaccine or not? I know some of it's mandated by school, but where does the source of information come from someone your age, a young woman like yourself?
I lived through only like the COVID pandemic. And that's really all that my generation has in terms of experience for vaccines. Everything else we kind of just get because our parents have encouraged us to get them or got them for us when we were tiny little babies. But I think a lot of us get our information from social media anyway, despite the fact that it's not the best place for it. But I think that there is a generational gap in the way people use social media. So my generation does use the platform for more like emphasizing purposes. Like they want to get information out to people who will see it. Because a lot of us don't watch TV. Like, we use streaming services. We use, not TV.
And now, are you on social media, do you think, in general, more than TV?
Yeah. There are ads on social media, but, we don't have as much of an attention span to put up with, these commercials. So we get all of our information from social media and from influencers. And I see a lot of us we do want to get vaccines, and I went to college in a city, and I think being in a city has encouraged a lot of us to be like-minded in that sense. I don't see very many people against vaccines for that reason, because we're all like-minded in that way.
Sounds more of a local phenomenon.
Kinda, yeah.
Makes sense to me. I guess if you're in the country and your nearest neighbor's a quarter mile away, like I grew up, I'm not too concerned about 6 feet or getting a vaccine. But if I'm, living in a town of 1 million people, yeah, that's not really a good idea. I don't know why people wouldn't do that. So Mina, you were talking about how a lot of your generation gets their information from social media, good or bad. It's just kind of the way it is. What do you think are some strategies that could be effective in getting out accurate vaccine information via social?
Well, I think that education is very important for my generation, and seeing as we do get a lot of our education from social media platforms, I think some sort of collaboration between very well-known influencers and scientific professionals would be pretty effective.
I'm just thinking Bill Nye the Science Guy.
Yeah, exactly. A lot of people from my age group did absolutely love that guy, and we still do. He's on social media now, and he's great. But I think that having some sort of collaboration between these two parties is really one of the only ways to get younger generations to actually listen. They often don't like to hear authority, especially not academic authority, but hearing outside influences and people on social media that we consume all the time. I think it could be actually really smart to have some sort of scientific professionals collaborate with these people and get the correct information out there in a way that younger generations will listen to.
Yeah, great points. In fact, in the post that you referenced, Joe, I put in there, like, we need a role for a science communicator. And, Mina, I don't think I'm getting this wrong. I think Bill Nye, and am I right, Joe? That's what he does, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Equal, maybe I should stop short of saying equal parts entertainment, equal parts real science.
Yeah, I think that's what this generation needs.
All right. Well, listen, great topic. Joe, let's cue up a vaccine show. In fact, I think we should, we love Joe Rogan, but let's have the vaccine debate here.
Sure.
At a future podcast. The opinions expressed by the host and guests are for informational purposes only and not associated with any companies or academic institutions. Please follow us wherever you listen to your podcasts, as well as our YouTube channel, Healthcare Nation Podcast. And if you have any questions or want to contact us, please reach out to healthcarenationpodcast.com.